respect the power of the subconscious, and I always ask permission to speak to it and ask questions. Do I have permission to ask questions?
Yes.
Thank you. I know the subconscious could have brought forth many different lifetimes for Greg to see today. You chose to bring forward this life. Why did you pick this lifetime?
Because it shows that he can work towards something better, something attainable, and to the betterment of more than just himself.
So that there's a bigger picture, and that he's already seen that bigger picture.
Right.
What was important about the place where they were building that device?
Sometimes the energy is just right in a particular place. So some places just have bad energy. Greg comes from places with bad energy. And sometimes you just have to find the place with the perfect energy.
And so Greg's learning how to do that in this lifetime?
Greg's learning how to look for where the energies are right.
And how does he do that?
Feels for it.
Just something in his body or his mind?
Just like in that lifetime, they just knew. Just knew that they would find something. Just know, just feel it.
So learning how to trust that feeling and move when he feels it.
Correct.
You're helping him do that a lot, I can tell.
Just to trust the process. Even if you take a step and fall, at least you're trying to move.
Yeah, and Greg really does want to move in the right direction. What's holding him back?
Just pain, doubt.
What's he doubtful of?
That the pain will stop, that he'll get better.
Mm. Are there things that he can do despite the pain?
Don't know.
What can we do to help him with that pain? You don't have to have all the answers right now either. We'll come back to that a little bit later too.
And he tries. He really does.
Yeah, he does a good job.
It would help if he had more of a support group of just professionals or anybody that would just understand that there's just things that he might need that would help.
Yeah, so more support in his environment.
Right.
Yeah, so experienced people that would understand where he's coming from. Yeah, that sounds like it'd be very helpful. Let's talk more about that other life. Let's talk about those other dimensions that he was looking at and his job in that place. Was that place Earth?
Must have been. It must have been. The places through the windows were not. Or maybe they were. They're just different.
Different dimensions.
Yeah, just different dimensions. Or just different vibes. It's not just like changing the color. I mean, it just changes everything. It changes attitudes and perceptions and temperatures and what we perceive as humidity and gravity, and it's,
So the entire environment changes.
Right.
Can we call that a life state?
We could call that a life state. Maybe it is a dimension.
Yeah, maybe they're the same things. I wonder. So he was able to change a lot of people's lives just from what he thought was maybe a small act at first, or maybe even potentially nothing.
Maybe potentially nothing. It's just, sometimes if you just get people to stop and listen and observe long enough, if those people get it, and then when those people get it, they tell other people.
So that's how change happens, just person to person.
Right.
Doesn't have to be anything huge.
Doesn't have to be anything huge. It could be somebody, something as simple as one person saying to another, it's like, look, I'm telling you, you can see it, it's there. And then it is.
Right, so somebody else's faith can spur on the experience for another.
Right. In the way that their team, they didn't know what they were looking for. They had no idea. They just knew that there was something.
So just that pure drive and curiosity.
Right. There's a practice, I think it's called scrounging. People use the divining rods, to look for water and things like that. Or, scrounging was used in, like, after wars, for people they would detect landmines and things that were buried in the ground using scrounging. And there's no accurate science behind scrounging. And it was kind of discredited as a quack practice, but something about it works. There's no scientific explanation to it, and a whole lot of people think that it's just phony, it's all in their heads, but you can observe people that use this practice and use these divining rods, and they will strike water in the ground.
I've seen that.
They will find what they're looking for. Can anybody explain that? No, but it's like, it's like this work that they did to open these windows to the other dimensions. There was no exact science behind it. They just knew. They just knew that there would be something there.
Does that relate to why Greg likes to look at maps and scout those things out? Does that have to do with his ability to find that location on that other life?
It all has to correlate.
Yeah, it seems like he's really good at looking at views of things and then zooming in, zooming out, maneuvering, navigating.
Thinks of things externally. Most people think of their world as just their immediate surroundings.
Mm-hmm.
He perceives things as bigger.
So he sees a bigger picture.
Right.
And also seems to be able to go down into the details when he needs to.
Right.
Is that something that you help him with?
I suppose I do sometimes, but
I mean, it seems like it comes pretty naturally to him. But
he seems to have a firm grasp.
yeah. How does that help him in his everyday life?
Well, you don't know that it does.
Just something that he's good at. Just something that's carried over from other lifetimes worth of knowledge.
It may be important.
Maybe important at some point. It's like trivia. Why is he so good at trivia?
No, it seems like he has the ability to retain the information the way he does because it's a tool, because it's going to be needed.
So he can keep the things he needs.
Right.
Is he able to get rid of the things he doesn't need?
He has.
Good.
He always does.
Is that true for excess energy that's coming into his body? Is that true for excess energy that comes into Greg's body?
Yeah.
Is he able to use all the energy appropriately that's coming to him?
Maybe not appropriately all the time, but he does his best.
Is there a way that we can look at a better way for Greg to funnel that energy so it goes to the most appropriate places and it's not getting dissipated in places that would be harmful?
I'm not sure how to. I would love for that.
Yeah. I want to look at the different places just to make sure that we're not overlooking anything and, take the details as we go. Can we do a body scan of Greg? Let's take a look from his head down to his toes. What are the parts that are sticking out that might have a blockage or that are in discomfort?
It's mostly everything below the knees are just a constant pain.
Yeah.
It's almost as if the bones are weak or fragile.
Yeah, so it feels like he's very fragile.
I feel sometimes like he's just being torn apart, or his matter, his very energy is just being ripped apart, molecule by molecule.
Sometimes he would joke that he's held together with sand and hairspray. Is that how he feels?
Yeah.
If you imagine looking at his legs, is that how they look? If you look at the bones, do they look healthy?
Yeah, they seem pretty solid.
Is there a way you can make sure that they're reinforced? Does he need any more calcium or any more strength in that area?
He could use it.
Okay. I'm sure he'd appreciate it if you can do anything that you can while he's here. He's been having a lot of pain in that area. But I don't think he needs to. Can you talk while you're doing that? Where did that pain or that fragility come from? Is there a memory that's associated with that?
No.
When did it start?
No, exactly. It's so gradual that I guess at first you barely even notice at all. And you can ignore things for so long, and then eventually that becomes impossible. You have to address them. But then, sometimes by the time you address them, it seems like it's already too late.
So is this lesson about acting in a timely manner?
Maybe to not procrastinate.
so he can move forward when he wants to, when he feels it. He doesn't have to wait.
Right. Maybe when you feel that there's something wrong, he should address the situation then and not just wait around to see if it gets better.
I feel like he's been doing better about that in the last few months. What do you think?
He's hit a wall.
Recently?
There's no support group. He can't. There's things that he needs that would assist him. There's tools that he's had before that he just doesn't have now, has no access to.
What are those things?
Like any medicines that he's used, or kratom, or anything, and there's just there's no support. There's no support. There's no community.
Yeah.
And and
so finding that community would help Greg.
Yeah, I mean, it would. There's so many ways of it. It's not just for Greg, but so many people just suffer alone.
Yeah. I know there's a lot of people that suffer. I don't think they have to be alone. So finding a community and a support system.
And just anybody that understood or could help or had you just any kind of useful information.
Yeah. So it sounds like the legs are giving him several messages. One's about support. He needs to find a good support system. So that's a good message that I feel like Greg's hearing. What about his feet and his lower legs? Is that the same message or something different?
The same message.
Same message? Does he need to keep getting that message? Is he hearing it?
Yeah. In fact, I think the message might be louder now.
Yeah.
It's just kind of difficult. It's like he's drowning sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Is there something that you can suggest, one step that he can take to find that support system or to move in the direction that he needs to go?
Yeah.
Just the things he already knows.
And when somebody's there, he'll find them.
Okay. Can he have faith that that will happen?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. If he doesn't need to keep getting those messages, can those stop? Can that pain in his feet especially, and the pain in his bones?
I think so. I don't see why it wouldn't.
Yeah. I don't see why he needs that anymore. Seems like he's been getting that message for a while. It can flow right out. Flow right out. And let them go. And let those worries go. If you're looking at his legs, does it look like the energy's changing in there at all? No? Can you see a difference?
No.
What does the pain look like? Does it look like a color or?
It looks like electricity.
What color?
It's white. Have you ever seen a bolt of lightning where there are just like hundreds of little tendrils of electricity all the way across the sky?
Yeah.
It's like that.
Is that representing that nerve pain that he experiences?
Yeah.
How can we get those nerves to be on his side? They're doing a very good job, but I think they can do a little better.
There are changes that can be made and chemical balance that would probably help.
type of chemical balance?
Should watch for more sugar. He tries not to,
but... So less sugar.
He's just got this kind of 1-2 punch right now. He hurts. And he never gets rest because he's hurting. So then he does things like drink caffeinated drinks in an attempt to kind of wake up to get more energy.
Mm-hmm.
But that just hurts more in the end.
Right. We were talking about that energy cone, or the excess energy coming in. Is that one of the things that's exacerbating the process for him? Is that one reason those nerves are firing so much, because they're getting extra energy?
It seems that it has been recent, and the pain has gotten much worse. It seems as though recently a lot of energies have shifted, though.
Yes, can you describe that?
There's just a lot of new anger and pain because of things going on around him.
People are saying the whole world is shifting.
Yeah,
So, do you still see that pyramid of white light around your whole body?
yeah. It's beautiful.
It's beautiful. Does it feel different when the pyramid is working to control the energy?
It feels like he's being held up, suspended almost, but doesn't seem like it's helping.
Is there any suggestions that you can make? How to get that energy to go perfect places for Greg's body?
I don't know. He needs an energy change and a different way.
What would change his energy?
I don't know, maybe his perception or thought process.
Like in that other life, is he able to change his frequency and make it higher to accommodate that energy?
Maybe.
Can he remember how that researcher or scientist, how he felt when he was able to cause that change?
Yes.
See if he can work with feeling that way and raising that frequency. If Greg can remember, maybe that'll help his pain, his sleep. Is that why he gets shaky, or is that something different?
Sometimes he shakes. It hurts.
He said his hands started shaking when he was pretty young.
Sometimes it's just a sense of fear, anxiety.
Yeah, it sounds like he was going through some different things. Moving when that started. So what emotion is associated with his shakiness? Fear-based or?
Anxiety, just fear, just pain.
Do you remember the first time that he felt those feelings in that way? Is there a memory that's associated with that hand shaking or anxiety?
No. There's just... He was hurt so much. There's nothing else he could do.
Yeah. It's just a result of all that trauma from growing up so hard.
Sometimes just your shaking was the only movement that could be made.
A way to process and control what's going on.
Yeah.
What about the dizziness that he's been experiencing for about 10 years or so? So it starts in his left ear and he can't hear. Dizziness and vertigo. How come he can't hear from his left ear sometimes?
No. Never knew.
Is it a message?
And it seems to be just a fluke because people have looked at his most recent trip to the doctor. They looked at his ear.
A lot of people that I work with, their doctors can't figure out what's going on either.
Yeah, they checked.
What do you think it is?
Well, maybe it's just a defect or maybe there's a structural problem.
Is there something at the time he didn't want to hear? Or what's the emotional root of that?
I don't know.
So it's his left ear. Does that mean anything?
I mean, the problem maybe it wasn't just the ear. Maybe the ear was just a condition of something else.
What does it feel like?
I mean, what if the ear problem was just a side effect from a shift in phase or dimension? Kind of the way people's ears pop when they reach a higher altitude.
That makes sense. So how can he use that? That alert him that energy is changing?
Yeah.
So just something to pay attention to.
Just to be more aware of that it's there so that it doesn't just take him by surprise every single time.
Yeah, sometimes it helps to know what the reason is, so that might help him.
It'll happen again.
What about his eyesight? He said he was diagnosed with double astigmatism when he was about 10.
Yeah.
Does he need that anymore?
I mean, I don't know if it's a It's not a matter for me to say if he needs it or not.
Yeah, is it helpful for him?
I just understand that sometimes when one sense gets dulled, that other ones become stronger.
Okay. So it could be helping us in that way when we lose our sense of sight or hearing. Or
Right.
So for Greg, how is it helping Greg? Or is it?
Maybe he can't visually see the things that are right in front of him, but his emotional perception of things is much clearer.
Right.
His physical perception of things is much clearer.
Right, so the limitation in the one area is actually helping him in other areas.
Right.
Gotcha. Why did Greg choose this body?
Well, you see, it's a funny story, really. Now, there weren't many choices to make. We were kind of the bottom of the barrel.
So it was like last pick of the
Right.
load.
Right. And
Better than nothing.
And he doesn't know, but it could have been much worse.
It could have been worse. Okay. So even though it was kind of the bottom of the bag, so to speak, could have been even worse.
Yeah.
So he can work with this body?
And that's why you don't shop for things during Christmas season.
What other advice can you give to Greg while you're here?
He needs to stop worrying so much.
What does he worry about?
Everything. Yeah. It's almost sometimes like his life was going so well, and it had been so shitty for so long that it's almost constantly just waiting for something to fuck up, and it just never does. Or even when it does, it's just not the way that he thinks it's gonna be. He needs to just stop looking for it. Leave it the fuck alone.
Okay, doesn't need to worry that much. What else can you tell him?
He knows he's gonna be okay.
Good. Is he starting to feel that more and more?
I don't know, but he knows that he's always figured it out. And there's no reason for him to believe that with the pain that he feels now, that he won't figure that out like he's figured everything else out.
I think Greg would really love to be able to do more things physically. What can he do to jumpstart that process other than the pain?
He needs less pain and more energy.
More energy.
Which is...
Yeah, more sleep and... Yeah.
He just needs to be in a position where everything just, like, existing doesn't seem like such an alien experience.
And feel more comfortable in his own skin.
Right.
What can help him do that?
Just to be, just to not hurt. To want to go walk, and to know that he can put his put his foot down and...
Yeah, trust it.
Trust it. Trust that he can go walk on the rocks or walk on uneven ground.
Would it be helpful for him to speed up his metabolism to Maybe get rid of some of the weight?
Yes.
Can you do that for him?
I can try.
Okay. Is there something that controls that?
Chemistry.
Chemistry? Is there a thyroid or hormone or...
Possibly.
And tell me what you see and what you're doing, if you can, while you're doing it. See, whatever controls that metabolism, I can almost see like a little lever with numbers on it that I can see going up, increasing that energy level. Would that be helpful for Greg?
It could be.
Just seeing it go from 5 to 6 to 7.
He saw it before. It's like he was on to something before.
No, that's not, that knowledge is never lost.
And
So it's still right there, accessible.
He was on to something. It's like right on the verge of something, and he got cut down for a while.
Is it just a natural cycle, or did something happen?
Something happened.
What happened?
Disease.
Oh yeah, the illness. Seems like a lot of people have been suffering setbacks lately. Is that something that's going on with the universe?
Seems to be. It seems to be because first it was just Greg. It was just Greg that was sick. And nobody else really had to deal with it. Nobody cared, really, when he was sick. But now it's just feeding on everybody else's negativity from fighting this. And just remembering that when he was fighting it, it didn't matter. So what's the point? When he fought so hard, and nobody clapped for him when he went home.
Yeah, so he's processing all that in response to the world going through the same or similar thing, or in fear of encountering the same thing.
Not really fear. Fear is the wrong word. It's just that sometimes you go through things and they're extremely difficult and painful, and he fought to recover. And it took a long time, and it was a miserable process, and I think at least people that love him were here. But, it's like, at the end of the day, what was all that suffering for? Like, if it, just doesn't get acknowledged, or, if the powers that be just lie and tell you it's something else.
What do you think the point is? Is there a lesson in all this?
The lesson that he took away from it was that he didn't matter. And that's what's important right now. It's because he needs to know that, he's going through something when he's hurting. And that there's somebody out there, somewhere, that wants to listen and wants to help.
Well, you're there for him.
And like right now, he's not seeing that, because there's just, there's nowhere to turn. There's nowhere for him to get the medicine that he needs, or the things that comforted him.
Is he able to comfort himself in some respects?
He is.
Is that part of the lesson?
It is part of the lesson, but there's going to be more to it than that.
Does he have to go through this part of the lesson to get through to the other side, or is he?
Yes, absolutely.
How can he feel like he matters? How can he know that is an ultimate truth? Or is it more important for him to process what he's going through right now?
I think it's more important to process what's just going on in general. It's it's not really a selfish thing. It's just that, why. Yeah. He doesn't understand that when he got sick, when he had to suffer through, why didn't anybody pay more attention? And, as a result of that, why are so many people suffering now? Because nobody paid attention just a little while ago.
Is that a metaphor for something bigger?
It has to be.
I think with his legs, he didn't pay attention when it just was a little bit, and it was just one pain.
And he fought to try to ignore it because it seems like something that was going to require some kind of long-term care, and that's just not something that's in the cards for him.
It could be, though.
Not where he's at.
What do you mean?
Because he's eventually going to need some kind of actual medical care. And he's just not going to get that where he's at.
What does he need to do?
Look elsewhere. Look for alternatives. Look for any alternative that he can find. Maybe that means a different doctor. Maybe that means going somewhere else.
Yeah.
Maybe that means him, trying a supplement or something that he's never tried before.
Yeah. There's all kinds of different therapies that we're just learning about. Or that have been around for centuries, like acupuncture, and we're just trying to integrate into Western medicine. Would something like that maybe help him?
Yeah, possibly. He just needs to... he needs to be able to feel that when he talks to somebody that, that they care. That they care, that they're going to help. They're going to do anything. That they're not just going to dismiss him and tell him to go somewhere else, to go do something else, because it's just too much of a bother.
Right. He just needs a healer.
And then, when those things happen, then he never wants to ask for help again, because it's like, what's the point?
And if he finds somebody that is using the right energy, that shouldn't be a big problem for him, should it? He can just feel it out when he finds the right person or practice or whatever. He can feel that it's the right thing.
Yes.
Okay. You'll help him more with that?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. Is there anything else that you want to tell Greg before we end the session today?
Just don't give up. Don't stop fighting it.
Don't stop fighting. Don't give up.
Fighting it. Don't give up. He can get past it. He can get past all of it. things will move on, things will change. He just has to endure what's going on right now and just keep moving forward.
Stay in the moment, but don't be fearful to keep going.
Right. Just keep going forward.
Are there any plans that he needs to make or anything specific he should focus on?
Just always keep striving to be better, try to be a little better.
He's been doing wonderful.
Always try to leave the place a little better.
Is he able to see the progress that he's made?
Yeah.
Good. So the last session, he was still drinking. He's not drinking anymore. Is that having a positive health impact on him?
Seems to be.
In what way?
Well, it's that, he's lost weight, and in a lot of ways his body's reacted, and it's better. It doesn't have the internal problems, the stomach issues, the digestive issues that he used to. So those have been healing. Yeah, it's kind of a double-edged sword. Some of the numbness that he felt for so long kind of wore off.
Starting to become more sensitive.
Right.
Less blocked.
Which is why his nerve pain got worse.
Oh. Is there a mechanism that you can help him control that pain? Can you imagine the pain going up and then going back down and then going up and then going back down? To do anything? Is this something that we can keep working on in future sessions?
Yes.
Wonderful.
It's as if that's just an electrical system of faulty wiring, and everything is constantly just shorting out and arcing and sparking everywhere.
Yeah. The more you can see that, the more you may be able to repair it, help him repair that. I've heard of amazing things happening during sessions like these. So if you can see those spots where it's shorting out, you can imagine your body kind of soldering a connection to make those wires stronger. Or you can put an energy sink in the spots where it's arcing or needs to be directed out. You can do all kinds of things. Anything that you can do in the 3D world, you can imagine doing to your body. And so if you can help Greg just use the information that he already knows and just apply that to the inner workings of his body, I'm sure he'd really appreciate that. Are you able to do that?
Yes.
Can you start to see the energy dissipate a little bit? Go where it's supposed to? And get the wires all strong, connected. Nothing's arcing. Maybe even the color of the energy changes. Maybe it's not quite as bright. Maybe it's not moving as much. Maybe it even feels pleasurable. Maybe every time you feel something, it's your body being repaired. Is that a belief that that would be helpful for Greg to implant? That every time he feels pain, his body's being repaired?
Maybe.
Is there anything else that you can help with Greg's body while you're here?
I don't know.
It's time to end the session. Is there anything else you'd like to say before you go?
Love you, Greg. Don't give up.
He's really going to appreciate that. And now, I'm asking the subconscious to recede to where it belongs with much love and much thanks for the help and information it's been giving Greg today.